But once you read the answers, you get the context kind of. This guy asked about gardening in New World, which is something I personally couldn't care less about, and I'm assuming you guys don't care about it either. Let's skip that. And it's funny enough that is the first question they have answered, but it is what it is. Uh so crossplay is completely disabled. OPR and arenas are completely off on this. So okay, obviously this is a question about the new seasonal world. Wars will be available, but you will take the deaths. Okay, so guys, if you die in the wars, it will, those deaths will count. So I think no one will want to PvP on the server. Why would you even want to PvP on the server? Anyways. Players won't earn artifacts the normal way. There will be a new crafting recipe that considerably expedites your ability to obtain all artifacts. Guys, you will not have to try to farm those artifacts. You will get Aang pretty easily. That's what I'm guessing, including PvP ones, they said. And they also come out fully unlocked. So on the new seasonal server, we don't really have to work for the artifacts, and we will be able to obtain materials to swap perks out on the artifacts. Okay, this is all. So you can also change the perks on it without having to use an armor matrix and then chromatic seal, I guess. In the next answers, and in one of them, they mentioned something similar for the overall endgame gear progression. I think this one is aligned with their future plans for the normal game as well. You will be able to change the last perk on artifacts without having to spend the seal and armor metrics or any metrics for that matter. That's also a good change, but we will get there. Okay, so this one is about the bosses that they are releasing bosses from the expeditions in the open world. Apparently they will be available only for a week within a month. I think this is already something that we knew from the update video. So we will have those bosses. They are dropping 725 items, 100%. You're guaranteed a drop, I think. But at least that's what we thought in the beginning when we watched the uh, the update video. But this question actually turned me down a little because apparently you have a limit. You can only get one item per week at 725. It's not like every single boss you kill, you are getting another item. It's not like that. And safe to say, they fucked it up once again here. But they are saying that the rewards are too good, so they are limiting it, etc., etc. Yes, Isabella, there is a barber shop. You can change your appearance in season 8. Yeah, this is where they have mentioned it. It's a follow-up to the question, I guess. They will drop only one 725 piece per event. You will get only one. And tons of 710s. Yeah, okay, nobody cares about 710s. But yeah, so the open world bosses that we are getting, that we thought would drop 725 items left and right, you can only get one per week. So, yeah, next. I don't see the question here. It is something to do with the merch, but I honestly don't know what they mean by this. See, they here just one per week for 725, but you can still get plenty of 710s during the rest of the event. How generous of you, AGS. How generous of you. I think this is about the preview weeks that we had for the new OPR map, and they are saying that they have received a nice feedback from those. And yeah, they're basically acknowledging the fact that these preview weeks are replacing the PTR servers because they don't make PTR servers anymore, and it is what it is. I mean, if it's this item, that is my average progression is one item per week. Yeah, Honzi, but like, what if it's a vigor strike conditioning nature harnessing piece? What do you do then? Like, we don't know. Like, if it's guaranteed an enchanted ward at least, maybe, maybe it's acceptable. I don't know. No, Isabel, you can't yet. You can't. You can't. They haven't rolled out an update for us to be able to see it on the new word database. Can't see that. Okay. So, guys, important stuff. We have some changes coming to address some fire stuff power in the upcoming season 8 release. So, in 3 weeks, I think they are nerfing fire stuff, as well as making changes to ways target lock works that we think will help address some of the concerns. Okay, then you're like, wait, are they fixing the pillar issue then? Let's continue. We are also looking into specific flamethrower related changes. They are nerfing flamethrower once again. Hopefully they are not buffing it, right? I mean, this is AGS, you never know. Have they made new named loot table for this boss if these random items? It's trolling. I think they might because they are doing random loot tables now for different stuff, you know? You know? They might. They might. Like in the seasonal world, etc., you had those PvP perks. You could roll abyssal conditioning, flame conditioning, etc. You can't normally roll elemental conditionings. So they are doing uh, custom loot tables, perk pools, or whatever you wanna call them. However, we want to see how the plan changes play out with Season 8 release before we potentially double down on addressing balance concerns. So they are looking into flamethrower related changes, but they are not going to roll them out in 3 weeks when we get to Season 8. They will wait a little bit, but they have some changes coming in this upcoming Season 8 release for fire stuff. No, Becca, we are not there yet. We have just started. Guys, this is a very long Q&A. This is a very long Q&A. Okay, I don't see the question unfortunately, but if you read the rest of it, the context is the grid. So I'm just going to assume this person asked if they were planning on bringing the grid back to the light attacks. If I'm just assuming that they are playing as a bruiser and they want their grid back. And the dev said that they don't plan on doing it because I already remember what this message said. Light attacks are so spammable, and they just don't want to give grid to light attacks because it is so easy to do. So they will not bring grid back to light attacks, but they are looking into something else that like some sort of a perk that gives you grid, and apparently this will help them differentiate between PvP and PvE because losing grid in PvE was a huge problem for tanks at least. You're trying to tank, you're trying to hold that aggro, and you just keep getting staggered after stagger, and that is frustrating. In PvE, we need the grid, guys. In PvP, however, I honestly think that it was a good change that they removed grid from light attacks. Aren't they adding grid potions in the same category as health pots? Yeah, that is also one thing we are getting. Thanks for reminding that. The Reddit thread has the deleted questions as well. Maybe. Oh, Marvin, really? That will be perfect. Let's do that. Thank you so much. That is perfect. So, how soon till I can become a farmer and garden all day? Oh, this was the first question, right? Okay. Thank you again, guys. Now we can do this properly. Yeah, gardening is not something anybody cares about. Is this mixed? Okay, I think these questions are mixed, so I think we need to start over. So they're asking about the invisible mechanics issue. We do have several fixes included in this release to resolve these issues. We'll be keeping a close eye on it in live service for any additional issues. Okay, guys, so they are actually, or supposedly, fixing the issue. They're supposedly fixing the issue after what, 3 or 4 months. It is noted that there will be a brand new territory coming in a future season. Will there be an expedition tied to the new territory as there was in Brimstone Sands? Okay. Again, this might be. I honestly don't care about an extra expedition, guys. I don't think extra development hours should go into this, but let's see what they say. The new territory will have multiple in development content pieces tied to it, but you will have to wait for exact details. Okay. But the question is if we actually get that new territory in season 9 or not. Digging up beside the some guy. I'm so no. Okay, so they're saying that the crossplay will be completely disabled in the new season server, but we already knew this. I don't know what this question is about. But yeah, okay, we already answered this. We already went through over this one, right? The wars will count towards your debts. That's not good. Uh, are there any plans to introduce mandatory PvP flagging in elite zones in order to revive cross-faction combat in those areas? No plans, although we have discussed this at various times. Okay. Hmm. I don't like the answer. Like the question is a good question, but if they have discussed this multiple times and they haven't gone with it, I'm assuming they will never go through with it, right? Because if they had the intention, they would have done it already. They are adding a 6 character slot, but guys, this time we are not keeping the seasonal account. They are saying that those accounts will be very overpowered due to the design of the server, and yeah, but apparently we will get the rewards to our main account in some way or shape or form. I don't know how. So the time spent in those seasonal worlds will not be wasted. I'm curious to see how they will nail that, honestly. Yo, Gandalf, welcome. Will there be an opportunity to change our character names later on? We aren't actively working on it, but we will keep it in mind for future updates. Yeah, I would love to see this happen. For example, I have a troll name on my seasonal account that is going to get moved to the fresh start world, and I would like to change that. And I know there are so many people who picked a name that they're not proud of today, but they picked it, 3 4 years ago, and they would like to change it. It is understandable. Can we have a DPS meter, please? Or a combat log? Damn. If you would ever get this, guys, we could certify all the PvE traps. I mean, we are still able to do it, when people die, etc. But like having a proper DPS meter would be nice. So they actually had a combat log at one point internally, but they never released it because they were concerned about the performance issues, and they're saying that if they did it, they would have to find a workaround for that. But they are saying that they're interested in it. Yeah, the fact that they're not adding name changes already is quite annoying because it will, it is one of it's very easy, I would assume. 20-year-old MMOs are doing it, and they would make money out of that. 100%. They will make a big chunk of money out of that. We are exploring. Oh, wait. More PvP modes is great, but will there be more focus and improvements in matchmaking in PvP and more weapon balance between PvE and PvP? Okay, good question. We are exploring more features to add to matchmaking to improve match quality, specifically around role balancing. In the future, we want to make sure heroes like healers are always balanced between teams. Guys, did you hear that? Hopefully, you will not hear me cry about having only two healers on my team while the enemy team has like five, because that has happened quite often here, right? So this is good. This is good. And guys, I'm sorry if I'm missing the chat a little, but I don't want to interrupt the questions flow. Uh, so okay, they're saying that especially in arenas, having a healer and not having a healer is a huge difference, understandably so. And what else? They're also continually looking at PvP versus PvE balance, making changes to address balance in one without affecting the other. Okay. Stay tuned for more details on the balance changes coming in season 8. Yeah, but like it's nice that they are picking this up again because they did not work on it fully. They started, but it doesn't function properly, right? Because you see me every day complain about the number of healers in each team. The issue that I'm seeing is they don't intend to, one, block people from changing or preventing people from changing builds inside OPR, you know, because that also causes issues. You might queue as a DPS, and then you get frustrated. Like they can equalize the number of healers on each team, but if a DPS player swaps to healer in the middle of the OPR, then the balance still changes. So they need to address that. That is one thing. The actual thing they need to address is, I think they need to balance the weight loads in each team. I think the weight loads would be an easy way to go on about it. I know it's not perfect, but like in order to balance number of light players, because light players are mostly range, etc. They need to balance ranged and melee. They need to balance the tanky guys. Let's call them just tanky guys. And you should have the same amount of medium players, same amount of heavy players in each side. If they do this, it will go a long way. No, Gandalf, we need to go over all of this. We need to go over all of this, and then we can play up Pierce. Will there be mutation? Okay, so they're asking if there will be mutations to Hive. There are currently no plans for adding mutations to the Hive of Gorgons, but we are evaluating how to make this content available to. Wait, aren't they contradicting? Then wait, guys. This is a very important answer because it might tell us that the roadmap that we have seen is a lie. Because in the development section of the roadmap, we saw a part where it says raid difficulties. So how does this make sense then? Why are they contradicting themselves? Is it because they are not going to call it mutations? Is that why? Yes, Dennis, I will stream the tournament. Okay, guys, I'm a little bit worried about this one in particular because they are contradicting themselves here, and this just makes me question everything that we see on that roadmap. What if they just typed random shit there and not stuff that they're actually working on? They just lied to us. What if that is what they did? What happened to the invasion difficulties and mode with matchmaking? Is it still being worked on? This is still something we are interested in, but it won't be coming this year. It is definitely still on the list of most to improve on in the future, though. Yeah, I think they removed this from the development section, right, of the roadmap. So that's a fair question, and apparently this is no longer the priority. Will there ever be an additional leaderboard for people doing the Hive of Gorgon? Oh, so guys, the second season of server will have a new leaderboard. So every time you every time you complete the new raid, it will be counted in the leaderboard. And if they have that functionality, they might as well just bring it to the legacy and fresh servers, right? So they might bring it. The Unleashed Expeditions event will be a great addition to the game with world bosses. However, why not apply this concept to M1 with a gear score of 675, M2 with 700, and M3 dropping 710 with a chance to drop 725 that can be upgraded in the gypsum kiln. I believe this will be something easy to implement and balance. Yes, it would be. That is, which is why they will not do it. We have some exciting changes for coming for mutated expedition rewards in season 8, and you will hear more about them soon. Okay, this is the first question, but we will get more details in the next questions, guys. So I have already gone over this, as I said. Let's see. Will there be an increase in leveling that currently sits at level 65 in a future season? Yes, a level cap increase and gear score increase are under consideration for the future. So guys, they haven't said that they don't have any plans right now, but if it changes, they will mention it, etc., etc. That is the political answer that you normally give if you don't want to give away anything, right? They don't want to leak anything, but this time they did not hesitate to say yes. So, and it is rumored or expected that we will get an expansion in October, and this might be it. You know, we might even get level 70 in October. That will lead to other concerns, you know. Right now we have so many stat points because of 725, and it is causing balance issues between builds. I think I will come to that later because I remember there was a question revolving around that as well. But they do have the plans, guys. They do have the plans. So once we get the expansion, I think it will come with level 70. Level 70 before GTA 6. Yeah, let's see. What happened to M3 Expedition? Where is the update to make them viable again? Fair question. Okay, guys. This is the important part. Yo, China, welcome. This is the important part. Season 8 has further improvements to this. Back, why are you here? We have further broken out the craftable gear that previously used damaged Gorgon's eyes and mutated dust. Okay, guys. So, let me show it in game as well. So, they are removing mutated dust, this thing. And it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. They are also removing. Oh, I think that comes in a second question. But wait, let's read this question properly. Mutated dust will no longer be required, and now all mutated dungeons will start dropping damaged Gorgonite. So, guys, we will have one currency. It will be this one, damaged Gorgonite. It will drop from mutations. It will drop from Sandworm. It will drop from Gorgon, right? That we have further improved and curated the perk pool. You know, this is a good thing, and this is another improvement. We will be able to get better perks. It might even be that they will go as far as making Enchanted World locked in for these items. That's my speculation. Again, don't take it with a grain of salt. And but one thing they have confirmed here, you will always get 725. Because right now, this shit drops 710 G score items with Vigor, Strike Conditioning, and Nature Harnessing or so. Okay? I know this item became the meme item nowadays, but like, this shit drops such items after spending this amount of Prismatic Plants and Ingot. What the fuck is an Azerite Focus? I think it's a cheap craft that you do, like Gorgon Essence, you know, you buy those aqua thingies, right? That you do from Arcana. I don't think it's expensive. I don't even know what that is. You know, like when I said it, you know how underwhelming the crafts, the drops that you get from this boxes, right? It drops 3 or 4 items pro. They say only the first will be 725. The rest is random. I don't care. As long as I get one 725 guaranteed, it's okay. Anyways, let's go back to the question. Will the worm that roams throughout Brimstone become an open world boss? Okay, that would be funny. But if he really wants that, he can. I mean, I don't think this will happen in the near future, at least. That's probably what they said as well. But we love the idea and we will consider it for future releases. Okay, I'm positively surprised with that answer. Can we hope that Newer will eventually become a true sandbox where open world PvP is more prevalent? Will casual wars be added? War content is currently dominated by. Okay, guys, this is a very important question. Okay, the answer is very important. War content is currently dominated by a handful of the most hardcore PvP players, and it would be great to have more casual war mode that allows less experienced companies to enjoy it as well. Okay, let's hear the answer. We agree that wars are too exclusive right now, and it is hard to break into them, especially for smaller companies. We are discussing options for providing both a way for companies to challenge each other to wars without territory, without territory being at stake, as well as a way for people who may not even be in a company to participate in wars. So the pickup wars that they have been mentioning about for a while now, they are just uh, underlining it again that they will bring it, but we didn't have too much context to that. So companies will be able to fight each other whenever they want. And if you think about it, for most of the warring companies nowadays, the territory ownership is just a tool to have the content. It like it's like I don't care about territory ownership. I don't care about the payout that I would get from the company, etc., etc. I think most of us are caring about the content. So if we can have wars whenever we want now, it is very convenient, and this would be such a good change. This would make it so that the war content is not gated. Everyone can play wars anymore, right? And I'm just hoping that they will make this change sooner than later before the number of players decrease even further. Okay, what else have they said? We are also discussing ways to allow other mods to be fully organized, like allowing pre-made raid groups in OPR. Again, a good change. The only issue is that, like this is something like having a 220 versus 220 war. This like doing this change to OPR is having a 220 versus 220 war. The issue is, with the amount of players that are still playing the game, this might be difficult. Let's be honest. Can I ask if this Expedition Unleashed world bosses will work like boss in Elysian Wild and the event boss, or there will be a limited spawn per day, limited time, it means that it will run during all season 8 or like current events for like a week or two. Okay. Okay, these bosses will be available for a week, and they have the same rule set as other event world bosses. Each week will only feature one boss spawning in different locations in the world, but we have a library of bosses to rotate through each season. If you have any expedition bosses you would like to see in the world, send us some feedback and we'll see what we can do. So, if I understood this correctly, these bosses will be available for a week, but I think in the dev update video they said that they would be available for a week every month. So we will get like 3 or 4, like we will get this 3 or 4 times in a season. Hopefully we understood that part right. Hopefully we understood that part right. Okay, will there be underwater swimming so we may explore what lies beneath? I'm personally a huge fan of underwater swimming, primarily for exploration, and would like to add this at some point, but there is significant cost to populating all of our water areas with art and content to make it worthwhile. We would also want to avoid combat in water as that adds a bunch of complexity and it is really done well. Okay. Okay, it is safe to say that this is not coming anytime soon because some people were copying that we would get underwater chest runs or some shit like that. Are you ever going to nerf fire stuff? Half of our PR teams are just fire stuff spammers holding flamethrower. It's killing skill based PvP. What? There aren't that many flamethrowers. Like there has been an increase in their numbers ever since I cooked that flamethrower build 2 weeks ago. But the amount of flamethrowers nowadays is nowhere near of what we had a few seasons ago. I think this guy might had his first last OPI in like I don't know 6 months ago because he doesn't complain about void blades. He complains about fire stuffs. Okay, bro, you are so out of touch. Okay, but we have some changes coming to address some fire stuff power in the upcoming season 8 release, as well as making changes to waste target lock burst that we think will help address some of the concerns. Okay, this is the same answer as the previous one. ESVG player, yeah, that's what I thought. That is what I thought. You should need to take an IQ test before you can ask a question. Yeah. Like, bro, like I like fire stuff is also overpowered, but it's not as OP as Void Plate, okay? Before you ask about fire stuff, you should ask about Void Plate nerfs. And someone else did, thankfully, but being able to steal the Baroness is part of. Oh, wait. In OPR, can the team that does the most damage to the Baroness be guaranteed the win as a necessary change? Okay, we all have been there. We have all been frustrated because someone stole the Baron from us. Isabella does it quite often. I'm not sure if he's still here. But so let's see what they said. Being able to steal the Baroness is part of the objective, so I don't think we would want to change the way this works. We did add the barriers in the original OPR map to make it a little harder to steal, but a well-timed entry can still pull it off. In Season 8, we have changes to tune the time that the score locks for, depending on how far behind the team is. So teams that are ahead don't get as much benefit from Baroness as before. But this is a bad change. This will, or maybe it's wait. It's not a bad change because I was like, if like it will be a bad change in the scenarios that let's say a team is stomping and the enemy team wants to yoink the Baron for some reason because they want to extend their pain. The duration will be like 5 minutes, I guess. The lock duration instead of 2.5. So their pain will get extended if this change goes through. And I understand that if a team that is behind wins the Baron, it will be easier for them to catch up. But do they really want to catch up? You never get that? Yeah, me neither. Nameplates have been a massive issue for visibility in Season 6 onwards. We are often unable to see attack animations and mobs since the nameplates of our group are completely covering them. Any thoughts on adjusting this or allowing nameplate customization? Okay, this guy thinks that the nameplates are so big. It just says that the winning team gets less, not that the losing team gets more. Really? Did I understand it wrongly then? Okay. Then it's a good change, Zora. I'm sorry, guys, for misunderstanding that. So it will be that the winning team, if they win the Baron, the score will get unlocked for the losing team for 1 minute, 1 minute and a half, etc. Can I post a link for the nameplate? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the links get deleted in the chat. You can try. You can also send me on Discord. Uh, you know. Okay, nameplate visibility was a pretty big issue before Season 6 as we had some problems with optimizations for console, causing some flickering and missing nameplates. Since then, overall feedback on nameplates has been fairly quiet. In principle, we do agree we would want as many customization options as possible, but there is no immediate plans. I'll be happy to look at a video example of worst case scenario if you want to link something. Okay, I think the nameplates are kind of fixed now as well. Wait, let me check that. What is that link? Maybe let's do it after the changes because I want to upload this video to YouTube and I don't want any copyright issues. That makes sense. 1 second. Are you considering expanding the possibilities that come with being in a company? Currently, it mainly allows participation in territory wars, and the only way for a company to earn gold is by owning territory. This situation heavily disadvantages companies for whom war is not the main focus. Okay, so territory ownership is not getting a change. Kinda. But like they are doing the pickup wars, but they are not touching territory ownership. Nothing short term for this, although we discussed many ideas along these lines. Right now, our main focus is on increasing endgame content and replayability across the board, including non gilded players. So, as I said, guys, they will do the pickup wars so that the endgame content is available extensively, but they're not changing the territory ownership system anytime soon. So the companies will still hold territories, they will still earn money from it. Thank you for adding barbershop starting with season. Any chance all of the legacy players can get token as a gift since it was acknowledged that we missed out on being able to take advantage of some of the new character creation items that were added with Eternum? Fair question. Let's see what they say. There will be a barbershop token you can earn for free in the season pass for season 8. Nice. So they are making this exclusively a store item. You can get one from the season pass. The question, however, is do you get it from the premium pass or the normal one? Because if it's from the premium pass, which might be, you still have to pay. So it kind of beats the purpose then. In season 6 patch notes, there were notable fixes in certain expeditions. Some examples being the teleport bug in depths, input charging through pillars in Iniat, and the posthumous pylons spawned by Empress Zhao in Dynasty. The patch notes said these issues were fixed, but all of the issues are still present in the game. Do you have a plan of actually fixing some of these serious long-standing bugs, or should we just be expected to deal with them for the foreseeable future? Okay. Thanks for calling these out. We have made efforts to address persistent issues in expeditions, mutated expeditions. including further adjustments to the teleports in the Arcadion as a melee encounter in the depths. Uh, is this the is this the priest? I guess because there were issues when you wouldn't get teleported to the upstairs when you need to destroy the corrupted portals. I think they are fixing that issue now. It will continue to monitor these issues and keep you posted on upcoming fixes. Is there anything in the works for allowing extra weapons abilities? Ah, come on. Three abilities is more than enough. There is nothing currently in development, but we have discussed adding something akin to a Grand Mastery system where additional abilities could be unlocked after reaching max mastery in multiple weapons. Okay, so I did misunderstood that. This person is not asking for a fourth ability in the skill toolbar, but they are asking for more than 6 abilities to choose from. We are also looking into creating more gameplay affecting ability perks in the future that can alter existing abilities in existing ways. Okay. They're looking. Okay, so they will change gameplay affecting. Okay. Do they mean they will rework abilities like upheaval then? Like they did with upheaval? Or do they mean they will just change the perks, you know? We have those dead perks like Mortar Charge, etc., that no one ever uses. Will they add some additional functionality to them? I guess that is the idea here. Removing grid from 300 con has been a massive detriment to the tanking experience in M3s. Any comments on this? One suggestion for balancing would be to give players with a Carnelian in weapon and 300 con grid. This way, a balance change for PP won't severely impact PvE tanking in a negative way. I have heard about this suggestion before somewhere else as well. I think it's a fair request, but I would say Bruises will just start playing with Carnelian Gem in that case. They will drop the Opus or whatever the fuck they are using. They will use Carnelian in this case, and this will not solve the problem. We did rail back on this change a bit in a recent release. However, we stand by reducing the uptime of the grid for this passive. Currently, grid is active through the entirety of heavy attacks and during the startup of light attacks. They're considering some additional modifications for this in the future and potentially looking into pivoting this functionality away from being an attribute bonus to being a perk that can be equipped to potentially address some of the PvP versus PvE concerns. We are still in the designing process of that, but are hoping we can make some changes to make this feel fair, balanced, and powerful in the near future. Okay. Didn't we already look into this before? This question. Why was the resistance cap, gems and emerald protections kept at 50%? M3s are very difficult and this significantly increases the difficulty. Why was this change made? Mm, I don't think M3s are that difficult. Like they're more difficult than raid, yes. But the difficulty of M3s have not increased. It hasn't increased with the Aeternum launch, and with the Aeternum launch, our characters became even more stronger, right? We have additional attribute points, etc., etc. We got 725. We deal more damage, etc. We don't necessarily take less damage because the I think armor rating changes is really marginal, but like you deal like 5% extra damage. So, anyways, I also don't think this is needed. 50% is all you need. The most difficult M3s are the ones where you have the mixed elements, like let's say a glacial thorn. You know, you that's a dungeon where you have ice damage naturally, and then you have I don't know void mutation, and then you need to protect for both of them. That becomes difficult, but the amulet change does not change this. You know, then you just go 50% void protection anyway, and then you play with full amethyst gems, but you play I don't know Ice Amulet. And I know for certain bosses you change those anyways, you swap your amulet, etc. But I don't think this changes I don't think this changes what they're making it up to be. Yo, Chrome, welcome. Absorption is a really powerful stat, and when combining that stat from various sources with damage reduction and mitigation, it was reducing damage so much in some engagements that players could trivialize content and negate too much damage in various areas of the game. Some absorption can still go above that 50% cap though. Wait, is that true? How can you go above 50% cap? Anyone knows, guys? Because I don't. I thought the void protection potions or fire absorption potions or whatever they are called, they don't go above the cap as far as I know. You don't go above the cap with the gems. You don't go above the cap with the amulet perk. How do you go above it then? I think this dev might be misinformed. Only thing I could imagine is Defender's Resolve. But Defender's Resolve is a base damage reduction as far as I know. It's not a it's not absorption. See? Reduce incoming base damage from attackers by 30%. It is base. Conditionings? No, I don't think it's conditionings. Because conditionings are not doing it either. I know some people have done those tests and nothing goes above 50% as far as I know right now. Defensive formation. I think defensive formation is also base damage. It doesn't say this here. It doesn't say this base damage, but I think it is base damage, isn't it, guys? Or is this really 30% absorption? Is ABS? Really? It was ABS. It's base damage now, as far as I know. Anyways, is there any possibility of increasing number of houses you may purchase? Currently at 3 to 4. No, why would you need that? There's a small blocker here, which is that we would need to change the way trophies are gated, but we would like to get to this at some point. Yes. Why would anybody need 4 houses, guys? Like, come on, don't waste development time on this. But why are you saying that you will get to this? No one needs this. Okay, your brain keep up with all the writing. Brain is fried listening. Never mind reading. Really, look. I'm okay. I'm doing well. The damaged eyes are currently only being used for mutated chests, which aren't used by anyone due to the high price and low reward. Do you guys have anything in mind to change them or make them more useful in any way? Beck, why are you here? You need to hear this. Yes, these crafts are being reworked considerably, as they should be. Better perk boost, much cheaper, no pristines required. Guys, there will not be prismatic ingots or prismatic plants required for these anymore. These are going away. This is going away as well. I'm just going to assume that they will increase the damage Gorgon's eye, the amount that is required to craft it. It only makes sense then. Otherwise, you could just keep crafting it. But yeah, I think this is a great change. And Irish Afro, thank you for the follow. What even is that? Exactly my point, guys. Nobody even knows about this shit. It is that unrewarding. It is that unrewarding. This is an item that you can craft. If you have these mats and these mutated dust, it takes you like 10 M3s in gold. You craft this shit. You also add these prismatics, and you get a 7. You maybe get a 725 item with shit perks. And it's not rewarding, it's not worth it, so nobody uses this shit. And they have realized that that was a mistake, and now they're fixing it. Thankfully. Dinosaurs as a possibility for Eternum. Okay, as a possibility, most definitely. Not likely, but possible. It's a supernatural island after all. Okay. Useless question, I would say. Can a cooldown penalty be applied to players who fail to respond to queue pools for expeditions? The number of players AFK seems to have increased significantly, which leads to longer waits for players trying to complete their daily expeditions. But isn't this problem kind of connected? People tend to go AFK if a queue doesn't pop after 30 minutes, and then they end up missing it when it eventually pops up. So like the population has to increase for this. Like that is the bigger issue here. Also, could a cooldown period be added similar to the abandonment penalty for the players that vote to abandon expeditions, or could they not count against your weekly totals if you did not vote to abandon? Thanks for raising this issue. We will consider both your suggestions and other options for mitigating the core problem. Yeah. How about you increase the number of players? Not for the second issue, but the first one. I think that would go a long way. Are you planning to reverse some of the changes that have diminished the essence, effort, and beauty of crafting and by extension trading? Scarabs and inductors have reduced the demand for raw materials. Is there any system plan that would allow players to process the user's components piling up in storage? The ones no one wants even for free. But what does he mean by this? Because even rawhide or stuff like that, the lowest tier materials are being used. If anything, if he needs to complain about anything, he can complain about mithril ore, because there's so much of that. Because they dropped the ball and fucked up the entire balance. Those nodes. But in general, I don't really like. I see the main issue here that the crafting is not worth it anymore. But this, I don't know. Timeless? Maybe timeless. Okay, maybe timeless. Okay, timeless crafts are another. They are a thing of the past now, right? Nothing coming anytime soon for a way to process salvage materials and storage. Although we have discussed and designed ideas for this, we do hope to do a pass off crafting ecosystem with the goal in mind of creating more diverse demand for more materials across the board instead of just a handful of gated variable ones. Okay. I understand the weapon balance is an ongoing struggle and never ends in a game like this. With that said, is there any information that can be shared on what the goals are for making more weapons viable, desirable for main hand play in the end-game content? Okay, interesting question. Let me take a sip of water. Our current goal is that we can make all weapons and builds feel fun, viable in at least some situations. Not everything is useful at all times, and we have functionality that is based around offense, defense, support, and utility, and some weapons have more of those than the others. Ideally, we have decent usage across all weapons, even if situationally. As you said, balancing is an ongoing struggle where we are trying to balance things and shift around metas in ways that keep the combat exciting and always changing. One thing we are hoping to address is how to handle buffing lesser used things. Okay, this is good. Mortar Charge might get an upgrade, guys. Since quite often we will buff lesser used up things and it doesn't move the needle due to the existing meta. So we would like to come up with a method that makes it easier and incentivize players to potentially mix up how the builds are played and try new things. Okay, guys, I have a nice tech here because the dev that responded to this, that dev is very right. Voidblade was at the exact state it is currently in back in the beginning of season 6, back when Eternal was launched for the first time. Were you seeing this amount of void plays back then? Because the balance change happened exactly during the Eternum launch, and people did not really try it for some time. And you know why? Because they were too busy playing with Hatchet. So what happened was that as soon as Hatchet got nerfed, I don't want to call people meta slaves, I will not do that. But like everyone swapped from Hatchet to Voidblade because that was the new best thing. That was the second best thing. But it wasn't even second best thing when Hatchet was a thing because people did not even realize how good it was. Again, I'm saying this again, guys. Voidblade has been broken for the last 7 months, but it became an issue in the last few months only, and it's only because people did not even know, or they were too busy playing other meta weapons that they did not even realize how broken Voidblade was. It is difficult to change the meta. Like if you have some strong weapon and then you have another weapon that you are trying to buff up, like Voidblade, it gets used more often. Funny enough, wait, actually, before Eternum launch, they actually buffed out Voidblade. Uh, one like they buffed Voidblade before the Eternum launch as well. They increased the ability damage, or I don't know, like by 10% or something like that, if I remember correctly, or might be 5% too. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm 100% sure they buffed Voidblade one time before the Eternum launch, and nobody picked it up. With Eternum launch, they buffed it by an additional 10%, also improved the tracking. People still did not play until they dropped uh, the hatchet. Then they started playing with it. Can we have the open world bosses occur more often than just 1 week of the month? Something similar to a Guild Wars 2 scheduled system would be awesome and a great way to give the community something to do consistently. 1 week of the month just doesn't seem like enough for overall consistent engaging content. Uh I think I'm actually with AGS on this. Because if you imagine we would have open world bosses all time around, it gets boring kinda. Like even when we have the events for like 2 weeks long, and or sometimes even 3 weeks long, it gets boring and people stop doing it. Yo, Danish, I'm good. How are you doing? We are just going over the Q&A that the devs did last night. They answered all of these questions last night, and they're going over them. And that is something we have entertained and could do in the future. Right now, the intent was for them to be a recurring event that allows players more quickly become raid ready. Okay, that's a weird take. They will drop one 725 piece per event and a ton of 710s. If we made them occur too often or stay for too long, we would have to consider nerfing their rewards to balance that out. But you are getting a single 725 item per event, and like we don't know the loot uh, perk table for this. I'm just hoping that Enchanted World will come locked in. You can be raid rated the moment you hit 65. Yeah, honestly. Like, guys, gear score is not a requirement in the raid. We finished the raid while we were all like 650, 60 in the seasonal world. It worked out perfectly. We are chilling, getting mats and level refinings. Wait, really? Do you use my tool? Danish? Check this out in case you haven't seen it yet. Artisan flat breast duration should be fixed in season 8. Okay, that's something I don't know about. Is there a VG nerf in the near future, guys? Okay, this is the main question. This is the most important one. We are addressing some void gun power issues season 8 with translation, the perk, and the target lock, and are looking into more ways to address it going forward if it continues to be an issue after our balance changes in season 8. Okay, guys, they are nerfing void gauntlet. Not sure how exactly they're going to do that. I mean, they are mentioning fifth stuff, but is it that they will nerf then all of these? I don't know. But yeah, Void Blade is getting nerfed, guys. If you want to make a Void Blade build, and I don't know why would you want to do that if you haven't done it already, maybe you should consider not investing too much into it because it is getting nerfed in what 2.5 weeks from now. Have you given up with small group PvE content? Our group used to play lots of mutated expeditions, but the moment it stopped being the best place to get good gear, we very quickly gave up with them. Hive of Gorgon's raid was too many people for our group, and it was so heavily gatekept by elite players that it prevented us from doing it together. I would like to see something done to breathe fresh life into the already existing expeditions rather than putting new content on top of them. That just makes them irrelevant content. Very good question, but they have already answered this that they are improving uh, the rewards of that cash that you can craft. Thanks for your enthusiasm around playing the mutated expeditions. We are currently examining reward structures around mutation. We are also excited to be working on new content for small groups. I don't even know what that means. This sounds like an empty sentence, honestly. You know, no grounds to it. Invasions were sadly moved from in development to in exploration in the last roadmap. Are there any additional details on why this was deprioritized? Guys, so we are now looking at all those stuff that we see in the in development phase. What if in 6 months from now, because that is when we got the first roadmap, they release another one, and then we see that nothing was done, and they moved half of those in development stuff back to in exploration. How quick would I be to uninstall the game in that case? How quick would you be to uninstall the game in that case? Because we are very hopeful about the changes coming, supposedly coming in for season 9, right? Like if they take that away from us, it will be really bad. You're hoping to turn around the casual invasion mode in the short term, hoping it will be fairly quick to do. As we got started, we realized it is a bit more costly than we had previously thought, and we made the decision to let the mods team focus on capture the flag and other new maps. We'll get back to it eventually. God bless you for picking the correct thing. Like nobody wants invasions. I mean, yes, somewhat like a fraction of the player base wants it. Maybe a little bit more than that would want it if it was improved, but come on guys, capture the flag is more important than this. Let's be honest. Can Ice Gauntlet be nerfed? What? Right now you can add Ice Gauntlet to any build, for example SNS Ice Gauntlet, and get a full debuff cleanse and heal for half your health with healing too, while not having a single point in the end. I guess he's referring to point tanks, right? Like I don't think any SNS assassins are running Ice Gauntlet. I know there are a lot asks about VG, but that's only because players get angry with what they die to, not the reason. IGVG upheaval all need nerfs. Also, has anyone noticed that only Burninator dots stack versus Desert Sunrise? For example, if I use VG Dogger's Blade, I can't get 3 stacks of Burn and Plague on a player with Desert Sunrise. Really, I didn't know that issue. At, I don't know. Like, Ice Gauntlet is not a main damage dealing ability. And I understand that this guy is a little bit frustrated that in combination with other builds, it seems a little bit too strong. But it has to be. Like, you can't take that away from Ice Gauntlet, you know? It's already not used for damage dealing most of the time, right? So, you know. I know there are some people who are playing Ice Spike, but that's a very high skill ceiling ability, and only a handful of players is using it. One of them is Zane. We have been discussing adding some attribute limitations to certain abilities that have power outside of damage that scales with attributes. Okay. Again, this might be a good solution to this. You know, if you are full 500 con, you're a point tank, you don't get the cleanse from the Entomb ability unless you have 100 intelligence spec'd into. That will make sense. I can live with that. And it is something we want to look into doing eventually for certain weapons, for certain weapons and abilities. We are currently looking into doing additional balance passes. However, with some of the existing balance changes coming into season 8, we don't want to double down on things until we see how they play out. Okay. Fair enough. But I think they already mm, mentioned that by their words, there will be a sizable balance update for in season 8. Where will seasonal characters be transferred to Legacy or Fresh server? Seasonal characters from season 7 will be given the option to transfer to Fresh world on the region. Specifically Fresh world, guys. You can't bring your Lupus account to Nisa then. It will not be possible to transfer a seasonal character to a different world in season 8 due to the way season 8 seasonal servers are set up and the power boost that those characters will receive in seasonal worlds. Rewards from season 8 gameplay will loop back to your main character. I'm curious to see how they will do this. And we will have more details on this in an upcoming Forged in Eternal video. Okay, that video, we will have to watch that one. Will the legacy servers be merged with the Fresh Start, which is no longer fresh soon, be on the South America servers really need this? That's something we are actively planning for our next round of merges during season 8. We will have more than. Wait, they acknowledged that, guys. It's not a joke anymore. So Draco is getting merged into Arius, and Arius will get merged into Nisa. Guys, again, this is one of those questions that I was telling you that it it is giving us some hints. They are going to merge everything for season 9 and they will launch new fresh start servers supposedly with an expansion. It's probably for SA server. They bought that. I know the question was around that, but I think the answer is concerning all of them. All paths lead to Nisa. Exactly, guys. I'm 100% sure they want to merge everything so that it can lead way to new fresh start servers. They don't want to have another fresh start. And if you remember, back when we had the second round of these fresh start servers with the Eternum launch, they merged Chronos into Aura. They wanted to get rid of the old fresh start. Then so that they could call the new fresh starts the new fresh start server, okay? And that's what they're going to do again. Like they're already hinting at that. Is there a link for this thread? Yes. This is on the questions have been answered on Discord, and they did it last night. But it is not easy to read on Discord because some questions are invisible, and someone, whoever did it, God bless that person, they put it up on Reddit, so it's easier to read for us. Is there a balance patch in the near future? We have a rather sizable balance pass coming in season. Did they mean patch? What does even pass mean? Global storage on previous roadmap was expected somewhere between May and June of this year, but on just published roadmap it is still in development. I do not know if possible, but can we ask for an update about at which stage we are and when we can probably expect it. A design has been completed and the technical groundwork has begun. There is quite a bit still pending. Okay. So they are working on that, actually. Did Barbershop will have an option to see how same hairstyle interact with helmet? Okay. Guys, I don't know. Like, I know there might be some people out there that care about cosmetics, but I personally don't. And sometimes I see these questions and I'm like, what? Barbell Show will show your current loadout while you are choosing new option styles. You'll be able to see what you're currently wearing while you browse your new styles. W change. Thank you, AGS. Kidding. Could we please have attribute specs added to gear sets? And yes. God, yes, please. Gear sets are good to keep gear out of your inventory with the item number restrictions, but it doesn't happen in dungeons when we have to sit and respec for the gear we equip. Thank you. Yeah, if you are running speedruns in M3s, etc., this is a big issue. And I mean, they already confirmed that they would bring this, and it will happen, I guess. Yes, as part of our endgame progression sweep, whatever that means. We've been looking at attributes generally and have recently ascertained that yes, we will be able to save attribute configuration along with gear set slots coming soon. Okay, nice. It's a good change. Can you please allow me to remove friends who haven't logged in since the server merge? I'm running out of friend slots but can't remove a few people because they haven't logged in since the Maramba to Valhalla merge. I think Gandalf was having the same issue yesterday, and people from the chat suggested that if you block that person, you can actually remove him from your friend list. That actually works. So you could do that, guys. If anyone else is having that issue right now, you can do that. The devs did not give them that tip, unfortunately, but I can give you that tip. We will look into this. Thanks for asking about. I know the friend limit is a big pain right now. Yeah, you could give them the workaround, but the dev probably doesn't know the workaround. Anything new soon with regards to pickup wars or any other ideas you guys are working on to help bring more players into war? Pickup wars is the next step we are going to take here, and it is on the mods team's short list. It's on a short list, guys. So it is being prioritized supposedly. Any plans to allow to reset territory standing point distribution? There are no current plans to allow you to reset this, though it is something we may reconsider in the future. Yeah, this might be a good change because, like, when you start the game, when you start playing, when you put your early territory standing points, you might spec into increased XP or I don't know some other shit, and you know, in the end game, that means nothing. Like, what do you need extra XP for in Everfall? And yeah, I think they should do this, but looks like they don't plan on doing it anytime soon. Are there any plans to give us more options when it comes down to healing, please? Like more than one healing weapon, please? Okay, that is a valid request. We do currently have three healing weapons: Lifestaff, Void Gun, and the Flail. However, the healing output of Flail and Void Gauntlet is not quite as good as the Life Stuff, and that is partially due to how powerful the Life Stuff is. We had to kill some of the healing output for those two weapons, because when combined with Life Stuff, the power was a bit too high. Yeah, if you play Life Stuff Flail, I know you don't have the kiting capabilities that you do with Rapier or Hatchet, but having the it's just so much. You still provide so much fortify with your flail. I said it becomes OP. We are currently looking into ways to make those healing weapons more viable as healing weapons without them being too strong when combined with the life stuff or having too much healing and damage combined. These may not come in the immediate future, but it is something we want to address. Okay. We know that Rickwater up level is under development. Can you give us some info about what kind of up level is? Is it like Cutlass Keys, which is the same zone with higher level of mobs, or like Elysian Wilds, which is like a new zone? Okay. Hey Polly, good morning. It is closer to CK, not Elysian Wilds. Okay, so it is not a full rework, okay? Because Elysian Wilds, that was redone from scratch, right? Mostly mobs and some of the elite areas are being up leveled and a rework quest line to take you through it. Okay, we will have a quest line. Interesting. I think in one of the other questions, because someone asked about the seasonal quest, and they said that, I think we will come to that question soon, anyways, but they said that they want to remove those quest stories and add everything to the MSQ, and and then we would have a longer MSQ. So I think Rickwater rework will be added to the MSQ, just like we also had a small addition to the MSQ with the CK rework, because we go into that, like we take those few quests in CK town, and then we go to Hive of Gorgon, etc., and then do that quest, right? That is part of the new MSQ. Yo, Doomsday, welcome. How are you doing today? We were just talking about the Q&A, and they have revealed a lot. They are hinting at a lot, and again, I'm positively surprised once again, and I was positively surprised because of the dev update video earlier this week, and this is also looking promising. Uh, Endgame is supposed to be the focus now, so can we expect to see loot made much more meaningful and unique? I will explain below. At the moment, very little content feels worth doing outside of Gorgon and Sandworm. God bless you. The lack of the Umbrella system is a major factor, but it's not the only one. Things like month drops from dungeons, music sheets from specific open world uh, POIIs, and specific perk gear from dungeons, an example health and elemental from last, were good but were never expanded on. We need more skins, furniture, etc. to grind for from all content, open world and instanced. Scraps are another great system that could use expanding, but a lot of drops, like low tier furniture, are still fully useless. Yeah. Guys, I've been yapping about this so many times just this week. You all know at this point that I'm really frustrated with the way the gear progression works and how unrewarding so many things are in this game. And hopefully they will address that. What was the answer? These are exactly the things we are looking into right now. Our goal for when the new zone drops is to have a reward structure in place that makes all endgame activities viable. Where is that? Where is that? I need to inhale the copium right now. Is JODT? Can he lend me the inhaler? Getting there, man. Been reading through it. I would love to be the tech team sitting collectively answering it all. Oh, yeah. I mean, this time they have outdone themselves. Doomsday, like they answered like 75 questions, and the last time they did a Q&A, it was like 20, 25 questions at best. Like they are really talking to us now. I'm positively surprised. I gave your people 7 hours of software, but they had to suffer 1.5 hours of man legs. Really, Mashim, I was surprised. Like I was going to bed last night. I opened Twitch on my phone. I saw that you were still online. I'm like, what? How long has he been live for? And then I saw that you've been live for like 7 hours or so. Bro, the Brimstone furnishing schematics don't ever drop. I found two in almost 3 years of playing on trading post. Really. That's a big old statement right there. Casually make everything viable. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it might not have any grounds to it. It might just be a generalized statement, but we will see. Because they have that thingy in the in development bracket of the roadmap where they say that they will overhaul the endgame progression. So hopefully it's not nothing. I admire of patience of Lang. He reads still. Yes, I'm still reading. I hope you guys are still with me. We've been reading for the last hour, or even longer than that, I guess. Okay. And how has the community's response to the beta previews of Coral Divide affected future game development priorities? We received a lot of great detailed feedback from the season 7 preview events. And as mentioned in the April developer update, there are more previews of different maps and modes planned for the upcoming season. So far, this has been a positive experience for players and beneficial testing for the dev team. Thank you for your participation and feedback, and keep it coming in season 8. Yeah, they are just replacing this with the PTR, because there are no PTRs anymore. Yo, Billy Butcher, thank you for the follow. Scott Lane is now ruining Lord of the Rings and New World, starting to get good now after he's gone and Katie took over. Is that is that official, by the way? Like Scott is gone. She wasn't in the last video, so I think that might have been a hint. But what I heard was that he became the head of both Lord of the Rings and New World. So he's still responsible from New World. But let's see. Dave is missing too. Yeah, Dave, or is or was, because I will say was because we don't see him anymore. The only developer that knew what he was doing. Maybe I don't want to. I don't want to put bad light on the other developers, but like he made it seem like he knew his shit, right? So that's copying. Katie is just a PR face. It's the Romanian studio smashing. I couldn't care less, guys, who smashes it. As long as someone is smashing it, it's nice. Yes, Beck, I'm still reading it. I'm still reading. Are you guys bored? Should we stop? Any thoughts on implementing a sort of grace period to the end of the month? Summoning channel, it's a common frustration to have it be cancelled by walking over a small dip in the ground at the very last moment and having to stop moving just to avoid that is a little. Yes, this is something I'm annoyed myself, guys. Like, let's say you are in OPR, because that's what we always do. Thank you, cheese. I will drink. And that's what we always do. And what happens is that you are on top of the outpost, you are about to jump down and go to, you are at start, you want to go to sun, you are going to jump down, you are mounting up, and at the last second, if you drop, the mount gets cancelled. And because of that, I basically wait until the mount is fully up and then jump down. And I know it's a very small change, but it will be a nice change. 100%. It was a rumor first, but he don't show up anymore. And Katie got a higher position now. Oh, did you check her LinkedIn? That could be a link. Dave wasn't a fire staff main. Oh, he definitely. Wait, wasn't he? Wasn't people accusing him of buffing fire staff all the fucking time? You already have a month summoning grace period for a fixed, and it builds up to the exact time month the summon will be spawned. Is there something specific you desire for it, or is there a common? Oh, the dev did not even understand the question. The person is asking, though we have that grace period of 3 seconds, but like, if you reach the last 2 seconds, don't let it get interrupted by anything. You can still take that extra second to fully get the mount out, but don't get it cancelled just because you jumped off a OPR outpost to the ground. You know, that is the issue, but the dev unfortunately did not get it. Is the old crown artifact light, medium? Okay, guys, this is important. We were under the impression that it was heavy, because unlike other armor artifacts, they failed to mention the weight load of this artifact, and it is appeared on the medium. Okay, we got our answer. But then, why is it medium though? Attuned leather pants is also medium, and you can use it in both light and medium equip loads. It will make sense for this artifact to be heavy, but it's not. Any rework planned for soul? I will just skip this. I will just skip this. And I mean, like, the person who asked this question is right for asking it, because the rewards are so fucking bad. But like, I don't think anyone cares about these soul trials, no matter how rewarding they are. Your cat jumped on your keyboard. My cat never does that. Well, we don't have anything to share about changes to daily soul trials for the near future. I'm so glad that they are not going to waste any any additional development hours for this. Like, come on, no one wants these daily soul trials, even if they are rewarding enough. Please don't waste any more time on them. They're learning, guys. This is what I'm talking about. They are taking the feedback and they are now not working on user stuff. Any rework planned for artifacts that are underused? Okay, this is an important question. I already remember this. For the next few seasons, we plan on implementing fewer new artifacts for each release and reworking some of the existing ones that are not quite as desired as others. Season 9 currently is planned to have 3 reworked artifacts as well as 3 new artifacts. Exact quantities are subject. So they're already planning on reworking 3 artifacts. I don't know which ones they are, but we have plenty of them that are not being used. So that's a good change. And that's a good thing. They could do something awesome, steadily increasing difficulty, soul tries with stacking gold rewards, easy gold tap that isn't spamming Emrine every day. Yeah, that I mean they could do it, but it's just that maybe I have so much prejudice now uh against these soul trials that I don't even want to hear the word. And yes, but you're right. They could definitely do something about it to make it worthwhile. Okay, we read this. How many new monsters, including bosses, will be added in the next 2 to 3 seasons? A lot of existing POIIs are reusing same monsters with same movesets and mechanics. Are you going to overhaul existing POIIs with new encounters with new challenges? Besides the expeditions, Unleash bosses, the next major release of new creatures will come with the upcoming new zone raid and mods. New creatures will come. I just wa- I wanted to stop there for a second because I wanted to understand if it would be an additional uh, type, like you know they have they have added human. So I was wondering if there would be something along those lines, like because we have ancient, angry earth, and lost, and all that, right? I was wondering if they would add a completely new uh thingy, but I think they will just add new mobs of the existing types. Many of these are in active development. It is in active development, guys. He didn't say in development, he said active development, okay? That is one more thing we can get our copying from. So we can't get into specifics on exact numbers of creatures, but we have numerous new models, rigs, abilities, and mechanics for both common creatures and bosses in the works. The team is really excited to get them out to you all. Okay. How are you going to address the extreme amount of bugs in the game? The most important question. We make a concerted effort to address the bugs in the game and need to balance the time we have between bug fixing and getting new content out to players. It's not going to be perfect, but we are pushing to get the highest priority bugs fixed as soon as possible after every season release, and then continuing to push for fixes throughout each season. Okay, I'm not buying this, guys. Like you haven't fixed the invisible stuff in the last 3 or 4 months now. Hey, Rennie, the cat is not here. I mean, she was here, but then she left the box, I think. You can check now if you want. Yeah, she's still gone, unfortunately. Okay, we make okay concert. Okay, we already read that. Are there any plans to rework attributes as we increase our gear quality? Will we eventually end up with just 300 points in every stat? I feel like now it's common for almost everyone to run at least 150 con. Could we see possibly a 600 attribute point perk for people who really want to min max one specific stat? Hmm. I think this is an issue for mostly builds that are using multiple attribute points, like rapier, hatchet, sword, great sword, all those. You are using multiple stuff. And if you think about it, you have the diminishing returns, right? After a certain stat point, you don't get anything extra. Or you get something, but it's like really low. Let's say if you're a 5-star player, you just spec into intelligence and constitution. And if you would have that extra, with that tournament launch, we received extra, 40 stat points. With that, if you would put that in intelligence only, you would get like 2% increase or so because you are already above the 350 intelligence mark. However, if you do it with an SNS hatchet build that scales with both strength and dex, you definitely get more than 2% damage increase. And I think the extra stat, having those extra stat points, are favoring weapons with multiple scaling. And I think that's a problem. Anyways, we are currently discussing attribute changes to coincide with our planned progression overhaul. Guys, again, they have mentioned the progression overhaul. We will also we also will be adding the ability to save attributes to gear sets to make it even easier to swap between loadout. I mean that this one they already said it in another question. That is such a good change. Any plans of duplicate artifacts are able to change perk freely without high costs to support multiple builds usage. Yes, this is also very important. Yes, part of what we are discussing for our progression overhaul is making perks easier to swap out to facilitate experimentation with different builds. This is good. This is good. So it will not cost you a matrix and chromatic seal anymore. Okay, so hear me out. Of all the dual stat scale weapons, the flail is the closest to fair. Yeah, okay. That I don't think they should touch the flail, but everything else, uh they're getting broken. They're becoming broken, kinda. Like if you get another 40, 50 stats in season 9, they need to definitely address that problem, and I think they will. And is Hideously underpowered in comparison? Yes, it is. I mean, but like that is because Flail is just underpowered in itself, not because AGS says like the extra attributes will not solve the problem. The problem is bigger than that. What about MSQ lore? What is the reason you are stopping story development in season? Okay, guys, another important question here. Along with new zones and zone up levels, you will see tons of new quests and story in this new content. Even the new season server has a totally new, albeit very short MSQ. We don't plan to continue to make new Silver Crows content. Silver Crows was one of the seasonal quest lines. But instead, we will focus on extending the main world quest line. Okay, this is good. So it will just be about MSQ now anymore. Controller has an ability queuing system. Is there any plan to optimize this or a way to turn it off so ability is only procced when they are available? There's an ability buffering system that is active for both controller and mouse and keyboard. That may be what you are referring to. Unfortunately, there is no way to turn this off, and you wouldn't really want to since your inputs would start getting lost. The fact that you are asking for this tells me that it might not be working entirely as intended, though. Please file a bug with more details in the bug reporting channel and we can take a look. Okay. Will there be any more unique months to buy or any plans to introduce more variety? Of course. This is one thing they make money with. Of course they will bring new stuff. Any plans to work on solo queue or PR the same way you will do bare bones OPR? I could see a very big participation for it. Yeah, I mean, guys, I have mentioned this so many times recently. If AGS will check the last activity and leaving player dead, 70% of the time it will be a stormed OPR where they lost 100 against 1000. 70%. I'm 100% sure people are leaving because they are getting frustrated in those unbalanced OPRs, and that is the main reason the players are leaving. Okay, there are other stuff like bugs and all that bullshit. There is not being there's not being enough progression, etc. But those rage quitting people are a big chunk of the players that we have lost. And I wish they would address that, but they can't because there are not enough players. They could have when we had the Eternum launch, and we would have enough people then. But yeah, they're too late with that. Hopefully for the next Fresh Start launch, when we get a big influx of players again, make OPR fun again. I mean, yes, make it fun for everyone, not just for the premates or the ranged players, right? Because people are playing ranged because it's impossible to play melee without a proper healer. I'm not saying pocket healer, because pocket healer is the person that heals you and you alone, but like having a proper healer in your team also matters. If the game puts a flail medium healer, no hate against those guys, but I don't think they are real healers. Okay, let's put it that way. If the game puts such a healer in your team, it doesn't help with anything. You need a single target healer. It's just how it is. There are no current plans for this, but it sounds like something we could try out as a future spin on Bare Bones mode. It's definitely in the same spirit of what the mod is all about, but trying to put everyone on an equal playing field. Okay, will you ever consider making Influence Tower Outpost Force? I think this is not a good question. I will just skip it, but I think the answer is important. Our first priority is to get pick up wars out, so the audience for war grows a bit and warloggers have better means to practice and try out new players. But beyond that, I can't wait to see Influence Towers get built upon, figuratively, literally, as they were always meant to be a kind of a first step toward opening up more surface area for the territory system and let more smaller companies get a foothold. I don't know. Packeteer is life. You would say that, Costa. You would say that. Any plans on reworking random queue rewards in regular dungeons? Bots are ruining experience of other people who just want to play with people, but they get stuck with AFK bots or getting kicked. Yeah. Thanks for the call out. We are currently working towards a solution for this issue. Okay. TP system. API open up. Will we get an all crafting, all gathering set similar to the Ultimate Trophies? God, yes, please. I'm very keen to this idea and would like to do it, but it's not currently on my short-term schedule. Damn. Sad. I've been in OPR before where the healer in my group was Nassim. I will say no more. Heron, my condolences, bro. I mean it. uh, can you guys possibly do a 3 versus 3 option where we pick the two groups of 3 if you are in a friend group? 6 people in the company I'm in wanted to go against each other today in 3 versus 3, and I hope you maybe will have that option in the future. Just go for a duel. Just go for a duel. Like you, I think people should not expect for AGS to facilitate everything for them. You can create your own fun if you want to. And I'm sad to see that these guys don't know or forgot about the ability to do group deals. Like this is bad. You can do that already. You don't have to be inside an arena map to do it though. Just go outside and form those groups and duel against each other. I just wanted crafting eating from the PTR. Wait, what was it? Sounds like he's the only guy working on the game. Yeah, that question was funny. It's not on my short-term schedule. It's just him alone, okay, guys? Just him alone. I think lobby for OPR or 3 versus 3 wouldn't be a bad idea. It's already in the game, and those that want can use it to make tournaments or arena. It's different finding. Stand and Sec, they're actually doing it. Like this guy did not mention it in the answer here, I think, but they already mentioned in another question that for OPRs they want to do full pre-made mode. You know, you pick the 20 people, and maybe the other side also picks 20 people. You know, let's say in situations with your company, you don't get more than you don't get 50 people for a pickup war, you can go for a 20-man OPR training, and that will be nice. I think they will do that. But my frustration was towards these people not knowing that they could do the duels if they wanted to. The earring had the mastery bonus for every class. Oh, was that an artifact? I think I remember something like that. That would be a nice artifact, honestly. I don't know which is worse, having me or Nassim as a healer. Having you both as a healer is worse. Guys, we are coming to the end finally. I think you're asking for something like a private match feature. We have discussed doing something like this for wars as another way to get into them, but having a more general purpose way to kick off private matches would be great for all modes. We will consider this further feature for sure. Okay. Okay, guys, last three questions. Why can't you just give us 725 gear score gear from OPR and PvP truck rewards like it used to be? God bless you for asking this question, but we know the answer. Uh, Everything feels pointless right now. I got more than 1000 OPR bucks and I don't know what to do with it. This is something you can simply do overnight and the game would feel 5 times better. I am going to say 10 times better. Also, the FFA PvP zone, the only few people still playing there are doing it just for the fun of PvPing. There's no rewards at all. Come on. They increased the amount of bucks that you need to open to pick up your weekly coconut. What more do you need? Sarcasm, in case nobody, in case you're wondering. There's no reward at all for PvPers in endgame. The shop offers only items barely decent as a startup. Make it feel rewarding. Guys, this is the key sentence. Make it feel rewarding and your game will flourish. It's just as simple as that. And people will jump in the island all day. Exactly. We hear you. I hope you do. This is definitely something we are working on addressing that as gear score goes up and max gear score items drop in new content exclusively. It harms legacy content. We have nothing to announce at this time. Okay, that is a disappointment, but this is one of the primary motivators behind our progression overhaul. Okay, the second part of the sentence that I like. That is in the works. Okay. So this will help. This will help. Imagine having this on live. I'm opening it. Oh, this. Yeah, basically. Wait, playtester earring. I remember having an artifact like that though, which they never brought it to life. This will be nice. This will make things easier for crafters like myself. With attributes in GSS, will we also get the option to apply specific weapon perks as well, given that you're charged a set amount of gold per attribute respect, how this will be handled with gear set changes. Weapon perks? I think he meant to say the skill trees, I guess. We are still working on finalizing the plans on how this will work, but currently the idea is to snapshot your attributes with the gear set and have the snapshotted attribute loadout override what is spec into the attributes menu. That way swapping gear sets will not have a cost to the players. However, the exact way we want to handle this is still being finalized and it's subject. Yeah, but like if they are doing the attribute, they should also do the skill trees while they're at it. That would go a long way. That is something people forget. Something may be rewarding but doesn't feel rewarding. Then it just turns into a slog. I've been yapping about this so much, Doomsday. Having rewarding activities in the game just keeps you playing the game. Getting rewarded for your work, you get that dopamine boost, which is what you are looking for in an MMO game. But AGS just took that away from us, and they gave us this shit. Let me show it again for the 10th time. They gave us this shit that drops blue 700 G score items that no one will ever use. And that is our frustration. No one will ever use this shit. And they're just so scared to give you something rewarding. Open one right now. I guarantee. See? This is what I've gotten. Physical averaging void harnessing health. At least it is legendary, you know. It's not purple. Okay, ban me. Deserved. Yeah. I was actually saving these up for the day they will boost these drops. So you took one away from me, Terran, now. That's fine. Uh okay. Okay guys, the last question. The big question players have about aimlock is whether it can be used on the blunderbuss and also whether it can be used to hit skills with 100% certainty, such as the Fire Stars Pillar of Fire. Will this be resolved? Okay, good question. Massive use, I get always purple to practice. See, guys? See? That's what I'm talking about. The changes coming in Season 8 primarily address projectile attacks, which means that the blunderbuss, which is hit scan, and Pillar of Fire, which is ground targeted, are not affected. Wait. So the changes coming in Season 8 are not doing anything to Pillar of Fire, guys. Okay, we will continue to look at other changes we can make to address the remaining edge cases like these, where target lock is real is still the only way to play. Okay, guys. I wanted to finish this Q&A on a positive note, and they have just ruined it. Okay, I'm not going to be dramatical about it, but like, yeah, I wish they would change the blunderbuss and pillar of fire issues as well. They change pillar, then it will change secrets. What do you mean? They have to figure out how to separate the coding. Wait, it is together. They're combined. That's why they're not changing it. Now comment section. Let's see the take. Surprisingly good Q&A. Agreed. A new expedition in the Downwood Zone. Selenin. Hey, is this the guy on working on Niver database? Or not working on it, but like he is active in the Discord. Maybe he knows something. A take but matchmaking by roles gonna make queue times for PvP much longer. Yes, if you have this low amount of PvP players, that is true. Are they going to overhaul the private? I missed something. Yes, they are going to. Hard to believe they are actually still working on this. Crazy how so much stuff is still only in exploration. So come back in a year, I guess. Okay, not all the feedbacks are positive, guys. Not all of them. I'm sure somewhere in Spaghetti got there combined. Really? Damn. Target lock change not impacting AoEs is a bit disappointing. There used to be some skill cap in placing them, especially pillar. Yeah. Okay. So not many comments. And if you ask my comments, guys, after this long session, I think like I'm not gonna inhale that copium thingy again, but like it could be worse. Okay, it could be worse. And this last week gave me some hope for New World, and hopefully things are going to go better. And it can go better because now they don't have to spend time with console launch, etc. Because they literally stopped developing the game for a year for the console launch, and it's been what 6 or 7 months now, and they should have done something. But I think they were just still recovering from that. There were some loose ends, and they're trying to catch up with what they couldn't do in the last year. The best part is there'll be a comment eventually saying, why waste time in this question instead of fixing bugs? There would be. I'm sure there would be, but no one said it. Do you wanna do the honors, Doomsday? Do you have a Reddit account? You coping as hard as Jay. Okay, guys, no one can cope as hard as Jay, okay? He's the master of things, and I'm just a student of his, okay? Anyways, guys, yeah, as I said, I think it doesn't look that bad. Okay, it doesn't look that bad. I'm glad that they took the time to answer around 75 questions.